live.
We are live.
We're live. We're live, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
We have a live audience. This is Aussie Craft Distillers shooting the shit. I got that right, didn't I?
I think so. Close enough.
Close enough. All right. So we are live in Bar 26. Whereabouts, Ed?
Lilyfield.
Lilyfield, which is on the grounds of what are we on the grounds of?
A distillery.
A distillery. So this is going to be an epic night for us, and we're super excited to have a live audience. And so, everyone, you're gonna have some fun tonight. We hope you can heckle us. We got broad shoulders.
Yes.
Not that broad, but let's rip into it. So first things first, we like to say, what are we drinking, and introduce who we're talking to. So we're talking to Loverboy Edward Otter
You're loud.
from Otter Craft Distillery.
And here I was worrying that we wouldn't be able to hear you on the microphone.
You can hear me. You can hear me.
I'm going to be deaf in one ear.
So Ed is a person I took under my wing a few years ago. He was a young 18-year-old. He was trying to break through. He broke through, and he's indebted to me. And so let's introduce Ed. Ed, how are you, mate?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, my friend.
Excellent.
I'm good.
Fantastic to be here tonight. Fantastic to be here at the first Shooting the Shit in a venue, I believe.
In a venue, it is.
It is.
Round of applause. First one in a venue.
Hey.
In a venue. All right. So let's have a drink. So Ed,
Excellent.
what would you like to?
What are we drinking?
What are we drinking?
So tonight we'll be drinking this particular bottle here. This is an XXP barrel. I have to put my glasses on. Apologies, everyone. We're getting old. I may have been 18 when we started, but I'm not now. 52%, and there's 102 of these bottles out there, which is fantastic. So we have some happen to be pre-poured right here.
Oh,
So we'll give to
some
the
you prepared
boys.
Earlier.
Yes. Who would have
Thank
thought?
you.
There we go.
At least someone got their shit working.
So, yeah, well, that's how it works.
Cheers, guys.
cheers,
boys.
guys. Cheers.
And cheers to the live audience.
Yeah, cheers to the live audience. All
Yay.
right,
Drink.
enjoy
Drink
yourself.
up.
Now, I think the first thing we should do is ask Todd, what do you think of the whiskey?
Sorry?
What do you feel about the whiskey,
Yeah.
Todd?
Yeah,
What I feel
now you've had time to savour it,
hold the glass
to hold the glass. All right.
and
all right.
have one very basic sip of it.
That's all you need, really.
That's it.
I mean, you just from there. Oh yeah, that'll do.
So I
Looks
go
like
as far as saying that it's exceptional on the smell.
Exceptional on the nose.
A wonderful aroma, you might say.
Wonderful,
Wonderful.
Delightful, really.
delightful.
Yeah.
An aroma that takes you
Does
places.
not feel like it's been sieved through salts.
No socks are involved
No.
in the process of making this whiskey.
Humorously, we don't anymore.
thank
No, yeah.
anymore. I mean, that's a limited release.
Well, yeah, they were
No,
crafty
in all
socks. And
seriousness, it's
Oh, God,
very,
no one wants
very
that.
fruity, and I'm looking forward to having a taste of this.
excellent.
Well,
Well, I'm
get it
looking
in.
forward to you having a taste. Cheers.
So the question on everyone's lips is, no, we're not going to talk about the excise remission scheme and cowboys. We're going to talk about Edward's Distillery and Julie's and where it all started, because we interviewed or shot the shit with Ed, episode 1. How many years ago, guys?
It was October 30, 2020.
October,
2020, yeah.
the very first
So-
Shooting the Shit episode.
And you know what? We had technical difficulties during that episode as well.
Yeah.
So at least things are consistent.
Yes.
What a hoot nanny of an episode that was.
Yes.
I
yes.
listened to it for the first time today.
It's funny. I feel like I relived it several times.
every time you phone a particular person.
Every time the phone rings.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
There he is. What have I let myself into this time?
So let's go back to where it all began.
So in seriousness, we've got to taste this whiskey, guys.
Yeah, you
I haven't
should actually
tasted it.
taste
I haven't
We should
tasted
taste
it.
it. It's lovely.
You're still yakking away. I love that one. So that's a Pedro Jimenez cask.
Yes.
Wow, fruity.
Heavy char.
50 months.
50 months, 52% ABV.
52.
Right.
52.
Absolutely delicious.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Goes down a treat. It's
It
got good
does.
layers on it. It's got nice legs.
That is a good
The
place
flavour
to
lingers.
start.
Yeah, that's impressive, mate. Very
Very
impressive.
oily.
Well, that's the new make that we do.
What
So
kind
we
of
put a lot of
sample?
effort into that. That's part of the process that we
okay.
do with our single malt, single barrel whiskey.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Well,
when Ed started, when I first met Ed, he was distilling under his house, and you had to bend in, lower your head, otherwise you whacked your head, and I whacked my head. So go back to then, Ed. Tell us what was going on back then, and where are you now?
We were distilling in a 70-litre pot still with wash that we were making under the house. We were still using exactly the same barley and method that we are today, which is barley from James Kite's farm, and then it goes to the boys at Voyager Malts who do the malting. It took somewhere about 18 to 20 distillations, which took me about 8 to 9 hours a go to fill a 50-litre barrel.
Wow.
And that didn't include actually all the mashing time as well. And then, we eventually got there and we got some whiskey in a barrel, and I asked some people who I trusted in the industry what they thought about it. And they said that I was definitely on the right path. And fast forward to today, we produce vodka, gin and whiskey now here. We can do about, top capacity, somewhere between 6 to 8 pallets of gin a day.
6 to 8 pallets of gin a day.
Not bottles, pallets.
And
Done, mate.
you could do 6 to 8 chip bottles in your place. Any rate, so it's
6
changed.
to 8 bottles.
F off.
And we go from there. So,
Very small
so I
bottles
did.
out at the
So just so you know, everyone, I did just shuck some oysters fresh for the
He
boys,
shucked them.
so that we could eat them together.
Oh.
But
I
they,
no.
while I was talking and shucking, they've eaten them. These are the oysters we serve at the bar here at Bar 26. These are East 33 oysters.
They are
And
good
these
oysters.
these particular ones are from Winnebago Lake and were harvested on Tuesday.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, we could all do it together, but fantastic. Cheers and enjoy.
Harvested, carried on the
lovely.
backs of locals, walking over broken glass to get here. Is that what I believe?
I think so, yeah. That's what they do. That's what they make them do.
They
So
look damn
it's
good
fantastic.
That was a great oyster.
It was, yeah.
I'm just impressed at your shucking technique. You didn't stab yourself once.
No, he did.
No, I've
and he
done
was able to
several-
keep up a conversation. all the way
Several
through.
hundred of them. And then while we've been doing that, we've just been delivered a lovely drink here.
Yep.
This is, maybe we can go through it. So this is a Christine Keeler.
Christine Keeler.
Christine Keeler was part of what's called the Perfumo scandal, and the son is a friend of myself and Julie. And we've named this cocktail after her. It has our house whiskey, which is an ex-Knobbler Smith red wine barrel at 41.5%, just over 4 years old. It has some organic maple, some bitters, and then on top it has this beautiful roasted salty prosciutto,
Oh, yeah.
which is just a little bit controversial, which Christine was. So cheers, guys. Hope you
Cheers.
enjoy it. It's one of the first cocktails we came up with the bar.
Cheers. I've also just noticed as well that on the top of the ice there, and I'm not going to be able to show it on camera, but it actually has Bar 26 embossed in the ice.
It does. Every detail.
Fancy.
That's what we're looking for here. We want you to enjoy everything you've got. Sensational. You like that, actually. Quite nice.
Wow. So
That's a damn good start.
looking at where you are now,
Yeah,
right? You got a bar,
yeah.
an amazing speakeasy bar.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your distillery, and it's not a small piece of work, your distillery. It's quite a production centre with a number of stills out there. So walk
Yeah.
us through what's going on out there through the
So
glass.
we've got 3 stills in there. We've got a 2,200 litre strip. It's a pot still with a choke point. We've got a 400 litre 8-plate column. And that is actually one of the stills that we took from St. Peter's. We just changed the top. And we've got a 350 8-plate column with a vapor basket for gin. We also have a 2-head pneumatic filler that fills at a rate of, Dave, love you, 720 bottles an hour, a 3-head label applicator, obviously carton tapers, and about 80 pallets worth of space.
Wow.
So it's not bad. There's also just over 100 barrels aging in there of the lovely good stuff that we all love, which is sensational.
So how long has it been since you moved from St. Peter's?
18 months?
18 months.
I think so, yeah, something like that. 18 months. Maybe.
And the process of moving a distillery.
It's
So
horrible.
You've done it. Well, this is the third time.
Yes.
Yeah,
From,
third time.
from under
Yeah.
the house into St. Peter's.
Yes.
And then now to this space that is
Yeah.
very impressive.
So to be fair,
how the
if
fuck
I
do
was-
you move a distillery?
it's difficult. Is the answer? All the equipment is quite large and heavy, and by its nature,
For later.
it's not really designed to travel. To be fair,
No, you're not meant to put a still on wheels, are you?
no, that would be crazy.
That'd be
to
crazy.
do
I
that.
don't know anyone that would do that sort of thing. That
No, I
just
don't know
sounds
either.
I would just like to say that a still on wheels, it makes
I mean-
a lot of sense, and I can vouch for it.
I mean, perhaps if it was like a toy one or something, that would be okay.
Oh, boom!
But
boom,
if it was
boom.
a legitimate production one, we might not. But these, I mean, you can see through the glazing from here. There's nothing light about any of that stuff.
well,
No,
Todd-
it is big equipment.
Yeah.
Todd and my mate Rog put our 5-plate column still together. Rather heavy, wasn't it, Todd?
It was.
And you were yelling at me because my fingers were in the way.
Yeah, you just
Was he
push
doing
past
something?
them.
Are you allowed to say things like he was fucking around and I was holding the whole bloody column?
It's a distillery. You can say whatever you want.
It's
We're
rather
pi-
heavy.
We're basically
I
pirates.
wasn't here.
I was trying to put the gasket, and they're going, I can do it, and I'm going, it's not right, it's not right. It just,
I mean, is the gasket important to you?
gasket.
I mean, maybe-
Oh, boom,
Maybe
boom.
just
Now we're going to get on about safety, are we?
see if it works without it. I mean, do it up tighter. Does it matter? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Safety schmaze.
Well,
Really.
whatever.
I mean, what's
I did.
I
Make
mean,
a
for the
comment
folks that are
explosion.
visiting Cavity,
I
you
did
know, I'm
make
just
the-
saying.
I
This
did
is not
make
a
the
roasting
comment that I
crafty
think that
session.
We need bigger wheels.
You didn't get the memo. This is not a roasting crafty session.
yeah.
Yes, it is. You didn't get the memo.
So-
It is.
So you won't be moving again?
I
Hopefully not.
we
moving
will
again.
not move again unless we are wealthy enough to pay many people to do it for us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in which case, then yeah, sure,
Yeah.
they can deal with the
Professional
shitfuckery
packers. I'm
that is.
sure there are professional packers. who
Yeah.
Come and box up your shit. And
Yeah.
move and then unpack
Yeah.
it again for you.
Yeah, we did think when we moved in here that it was quite large. So the total factory space is 850 odd squares. The bar is about 100. Office upstairs about the same. So the rest is the actual factory area. Obviously minus driveway where trucks come in and whatever. It feels significantly smaller now than it did when we first moved in.
Now you've filled the damn thing.
Yeah, on different times it does get full. The most we've had packed up to go is 20 pallets at a time. And it's a little bit like Tetris when you do it.
So when you were planning the move,
Yes.
you obviously had a little bit of time to plan it and try and figure out how you would do it, what you would put where.
Yeah.
Once you actually got the shit in here,
Yeah.
did all those plans go out the window, or were you
Yes. Yes and no. I think we have moved stuff since we've come in terms of directionally how production works, because it made sense when we put it in to work in one direction, but then the practicality of it changed when it actually came to doing it. So we literally turned things around to get them to. Sorry, you're touching my box.
No, we got a present for you.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Everyone needs one of these in their lives.
It is just
Oh,
what
this-
you always wanted.
This
Yeah.
is a gift.
It is a gift.
And you know what? It's the broken one.
Oh,
Where's his hand?
Let me give you a hand.
oh, right. Oh, there it is. So hang on a sec. Sorry.
Don't lose my hand.
To look at small things, I need to put my glasses
Oh,
on.
leave it alone.
It's only got one hand.
It's half a foot.
And
His
it's
middle name is Richard.
Where's
You know
that?
So,
Richard hand.
Nick Hope, in your defense, Crafty,
Nick Hope, we got a comment from the audience
Nick
online.
has chimed in saying they do in France, so why not in Oz to have a mobile still?
They do indeed.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
they-
an Armagnac.
Do
Yeah.
they probably
Good.
don't care about.
Hang on. What was that? Yeah, no, I agree. He thinks it's a dumb idea too.
Well, you can move it with your own hands.
I think a
Don't
mo-
break! No, don't break
Oh,
it.
shit,
That's
sorry.
how I broke his hand.
Oh, what'd you do?
Well,
We stop trying to shake it.
he snapped his hand and he snapped the other hand. You know this.
That is
Scary.
terrifyingly fucking realistic.
Yeah, well, it is.
Except, to be fair, the doll's got more hair than you do.
Yeah.
Show the back. Show the back.
I don't know if we can really see.
Yeah.
I don't have white hair, and I don't have long hair at the back.
He doesn't
believe
have
me.
hair, but
But he does
what
have the
is a
same
little bit
stupid
scary
look.
though is the wobble is drastically
That's
realistic.
That's very accurate.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's pretty. Yes, crafty. No, crafty. Yes,
Just
fuck,
hear-
no, crafty. I
just
don't
hear him
know.
say, I don't understand.
I don't know. Yes. Well, let's talk about cleanliness. No, let's not do that. That's a bad idea. Okay, then. What should we talk about?
That's enough of the doll. That's enough of the
The
doll.
doll's good.
That's enough of the
Hang on,
doll.
put up with the hand.
It just
Oh, they put the hand back in the
Yeah.
box because the other hand
You know
broke
what
off,
to know
and it's
where
in my ute somewhere. I can't find it.
Stop
So.
putting your hand in my box, and it'll be better.
So apparently smugglers and moonshiners use movable stills as well. So
Well, I imagine they would, but
Yeah.
safety's not a big concern for them.
Oh, boom!
It's
No.
okay. I wasn't meaning it.
All right,
like
line
that.
them up. Australian Distillers. He's going to take you out one after another. What are they? So who's on our online tonight? Any regulars?
we've got a lot of the usual suspects.
Oh, look, would you like a piece of this security board,
Take a bit of
anti-pasta
trace.
board?
Oh, meet
That I
them.
created
Meet them.
earlier.
I mean, the host with the most.
Here we
So
go.
we are at bar 26,
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm offering
bar26.com.au in Lilyfield.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
yeah, all good.
Uh,
I do like it.
open every day.
Where the bar is open Tuesday to Friday from 4 till 10, and Saturday from 2 till 10. On Sundays we rest.
As you should.
Yeah,
As you should.
you can go somewhere else on a Sunday, but on the other days come here. We have an amazing selection of obviously OCD spirits and whiskies. We also have an amazing selection of cocktails. Our bartender Flynn McLean
G'day,
is
Flynn. Round of applause for Flynn.
yay! Flynn, you're on camera. Flynn's hiding for legal reasons.
He looks good for a 13-year-old, doesn't he?
He's not 13, he's 12.
They have to pay more for 30.
We're the McDonald's of the cocktail bar scene. Flynn does some amazing cocktails that are truly have to be tasted to be appreciated. So come on down and try them.
Walk us through the team
Now-
that's here,
Oh,
serving the food, serving the drinks. We got Flynn.
Flynn behind the bar.
Who else?
We've got
Now
Millie
come
the
over the camera
Magnificent on the floor.
Melly the Magnificent on the floor. Come on.
Millie looks after the floor. She's if you get a booking, she's going to be the one who answers you,
Nice, nice.
which is great. She's English, but that's okay. In the kitchen tonight, we have Bernard.
Bernard. Where's
Hey,
Bernard?
Bernard.
Come on, Bernard.
There we go.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah,
Round of applause for Ben.
that's as far as he's allowed to come out, which is excellent.
Well, it's a chain. It's the
That's right.
chain that holds them in there, isn't it?
Mm.
He's on a chain.
Well, that's why you keep your friends close. He's Dutch. It's okay.
Julie's run away.
Where's Julie?
Julie.
Yeah, Julie. Come on,
Here
come
is
on, come on, come
Julie.
on. There's Julie. There we
There
are.
we
Round
go.
of applause for Julie. There we go.
Julie.
We've been lucky enough to have some people come and join us, which has been lovely as well. So
Show the audience.
thank you all for coming.
And there's more on the way. Sydney traffic.
Sure.
Oh, there we are. Over there.
We're looking to it that way.
We haven't got a roving camera, but we'll sort that out
Yeah.
One day.
one day.
Well,
Maybe-
we had microphones till
Oh,
Crafty
yeah.
got here and
Till they-
touched them.
Yeah, Crafty.
Don't blame me.
That's the thing. Everything was
Okay.
working beautifully all day,
Yeah,
and then Crafty got here.
Yeah.
And they stopped working.
it happens.
And
I think that's
it,
the story of the Cavity Distillery, though.
No, but
it just doesn't make sense.
normally what happens if I'm in the shed, I'll get on 2.5 minutes before the start, and I'll go. I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. What's going on?
What are you getting on?
What are we
His
getting on?
computer or his phone.
Oh, right.
In my phone most of the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what he was. Yeah, fair enough. Fair,
Yeah.
cool. That's all right.
All right, so let's rip into some heavy topics. Let's talk about Australian whiskey. Who likes Australian whiskey in the room? That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Now, for those that don't know, little secret, when you buy an Australian whiskey, you're supporting an Australian farmer you're supporting an Australian industry. And Ed, would you like to comment on this, please?
Well, we buy all our grain from James Kite's farm. He's in some place called Bungong, which is basically
Butt nowhere.
middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I think if you went there, you'd probably die because it's too far from anywhere. But he's a lovely bloke. I met him several years ago at a beer speech thing down at Batch.
Oh, I was there that
I
night.
don't- Were you? I had blacked that out.
Stu.
No, yeah, I blacked you out.
Stu and Brad.
Yeah. No, you had blacked out.
Did you get a salami? I got a salami that night.
I don't want to talk about
You
him.
don't need to talk
So-
about your salami.
No.
We have some salami here to talk about on the board. I think we've got
Oh, I
some.
didn't get the salami.
Oh no, I didn't. Oh no, what did I put? Yeah, no, that's
No, it's
prosciutto,
Yep.
mortadella,
More
and
cheese.
that's okay.
Yeah. All right, keep going. Yep.
Really good cheese.
Anyway, top bloke, but I don't think he likes the city much. About fifth generation farmer from memory.
We're still using the same
We use the same grain,
grain.
and for the most part, it pretty much comes from the same paddock.
Wow.
Yeah. It's sustainable farming, which is really good, which is what we love.
The very first
Um,
distiller to use Voyager craft malt. I think that's claim to fame.
100%. That is
100%
correct. I
claim.
was first to do it.
Yep.
When I started under the house, I found Stu and Brad, and I
Where were they
thought
hiding?
I don't know. I thought that they were quite a legitimate business because they had a website and a price list. Little did I know they didn't have much more than that. And they Stu made me buy a ton of grain, which got delivered on a hot summer's day as I was leaving for work in a suit. And the truck driver dumped it on the road. And it's a bit of a walk from my house to the road, about 25 metres. And if you know how it comes in bags. So I moved it from the road to the garage and then went and had a shower after calling the person I was working for at the time to let him know that I would be late because I was very hot and sweaty and needed new clothes. But that's where the journey started. And then I started using different yeast types and strains and bits and pieces to get the ultimate flavour profile of the OCD whiskey and vodka. And I eventually landed on it and put it through the still. And again, at that stage, I didn't know that I was the first to do it because I still had this belief that they were quite this long-term business. And in reality, I think pretty much it was just batch. No, I didn't set them up with a ton of grain. No.
Hey, we got our first ton. Our
future.
first ton. Fuckers paid as well.
No, I think batch
We
was
can go make another one now.
I think batch was pretty much the only brewery at the time that was really running with them and taking pretty much everything they could make.
Yeah.
And then we actually got to it. Then Stu told me, he goes, "Yeah, you were the first, and this is the first." And I know others were trying to be that, but when you're first, you're first. So I'm going to ride that puppy all the way that I can.
Absolutely.
You told him off for saying
Badge of
puppy
honour.
earlier on.
No, he said he's going to fuck that puppy, and I didn't want to find out that I was puppy in some weird way.
So for those guys who know about whiskey and distilling and that, there's sponsors of Aussie Craft Distillers shooting the shit, and by default, Whiskey Fight Club, which we'll talk about later on. But Stu and Brad are they're mates now. They'll always pick up the phone. They're great, and they're the people you like dealing with, don't you? They're good products, good service, and just a fuck ton of fun as well.
And one day we will actually get them on the podcast.
You haven't had Stu and Brad on the podcast?
No, we were going to get them on with
we
Mark
were-
Rainier on a terroir session, but
right.
There were technical difficulties, so we will do it. Not at our end, thankfully. But yeah, we'll get them on to do a deep dive on grain.
Oh, look,
Hopefully at some point soon.
Stu's knowledge is excellent. I think there's a lot of information that along the way I've learned about various things. To be completely honest, I never thought were things that I would have to learn. And one of the big lessons in terms of grain and talking about grain sizing and all the stuff that goes with that in terms of malting was a lot of lessons that showed where when I had used other malts early on to try and create a base through the wash and got results but didn't necessarily get what I was looking for, made sense once I sort of had that information come to light. I think Stu and Brad sort of allow people to cheat a little bit because of the way they do it and how pedantic they are. I know it's behind my head. I'm aware where it is.
You got a dick on your shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, I've got a dick next to me. But...
I leave that alone.
Yeah, but I mean, they sort of remove the need to learn it because of what they're doing,
Right.
which I think is quite interesting. But at the same time, sad that not everyone has to learn that information because it does lead to better product and better outcomes.
So in taking the knowledge from them, from the challenges involved in moving distilleries, from just evolving over the course of the last 3 years since we spoke to you,
Another whiskey, please.
how have your sort of processes and your process and your gear evolved and your knowledge of distilling evolved over the course of the last 3 years?
Look, I think
Hey. How are you? Nick? How are you? How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live. This is shooting the shit. This is how we roll.
that's all right.
Don't you know this?
Right?
Don't about Crafty to actually, stay focused on anything. There's a squirrel, Crafty. It's over there. Quick. Quick, have a look. There we go.
Shiny.
I think, look, in terms of the process and the change, I mean, one of the things we were very careful to do when we got gear that was bigger was to ensure that we didn't actually change the math in terms of what was happening in the still, because as soon as you scale up, if that changes, then the profiles will change in terms of what's coming out of it, what that's going to look like, and a lot of time spent on small stills where you can actually adjust the length of the column, how many plates, all that sort of stuff, and how much power was going into it gave great learnings to how that actually worked. And then working with the still makers on that math to make sure that it is going to follow through. And that offered the scalability. I mean, when we moved to St. Peter's, that was the first level of showing that, we were going from, a small still to a larger still that wouldn't maintain the consistency in terms of what it was. It doesn't fit.
Round of applause. The newest Australian Distillers Association member, Edward Otto. Years in the making, years in the making.
Fuck off again. I got a goodie bag.
It's a whole show bag.
There's not a lot in it. It's all there.
I think, aren't we meant to behave? No? There's another one. Yeah, okay.
It's like for your other head.
There we go.
Right.
So based on the move to bigger gear, newer gear, changing, evolving everything over the last 3 years, are you still doing a mash coming out at 9.5%?
Yeah, 100%. So the specific gravity of what goes in hasn't changed. There's been improvements along the way, obviously, in terms of productivity and production, that sort of stuff, and we're able to capture things better. But in terms of continuing to take the head cuts each run, what that profile is made up of. I mean, the volume obviously scales up of what you take, but the makeup in terms of the ABV, etc., on the head cuts on all of the runs has remained the same as it did from what we landed on under the house at home in the garage. So that is still consistent right through the end. On the second run, it's the same again. The volume in terms of the tails and the hearts and the heads as a scale hasn't changed. So as a percentage, it stays the same. So we've managed to make it significantly larger in terms of how much we're doing, but we've actually held true to those initial recipe parameters. So that isn't any different, which just sort of shows that you can scale up, but hold to those numbers without it all sort of changing and risking ultimately what it is that you're known for. I mean, without being overly self-thing, the flavor profile in all of our releases, which is single barrel releases, so the only thing that changes is the barrel.
Yeah, right.
You can still taste what is ultimately the OCD new make coming through in each one.
Yeah.
So that doesn't change. So, we're using Latrobe, it comes through. It has a flavor profile. Of course, we're dealing ultimately with agricultural products. We're dealing with grain and timber. So there's going to be variances in it. But ultimately, it's going to hold to a particular taste. I mean, no different to the fact that, if you're using a Shiraz grape varietal, it's going to hold. If you're using it from the same vineyard every year, yes, there will be some slight variances, but it is still going to hold to what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think what it really starts to show is that there is levels of consistency in you get it from a particular area, in this case, James Price Farm, that is going to drive a flavour profile from when he's growing it through to what comes out of the cask, potentially 6-7 years later, which is absolutely mind-blowing and does show to the argument that there is terroir in whiskey and in spirits. It is there. It's 100% true. It's just that you can't be a mass producer and hold it because you simply can't get the same stuff from the same place if you go past a bit different size. I mean, we're lucky in that we're in a position where it would have to be. Thanks, Jim. I'll call you out. You want to get on the camera? No. We're just going to wave it in. That's all good.
I want to add to your comments when you finish. So wind it up because I'm going to.
Oh no, this goes for about half an hour now.
No, you don't.
You
have
started
it.
it in. So there is
Lock down, people. Lock down.
So once you go past certain size,
Lock up.
you simply can't get it from the same spot. You need volume, right?
Yeah.
So you can't be as picky.
Yeah,
We're lucky in that the volume that's available to us exceeds potentially what we would see as the growth of the business.
Yeah, right.
So when we get to the point where we're tapping out what's available, then I'll rock up in a McLaren and everything's good, right? So that's okay. But then I just think it's a case of turning it and saying, well, that's fine. That's what this is. And then we can move to a I'm pretty sure it's about bar 26 today. We can move to another one, and we can do the same thing again, but just with a different grain from a different plate, and continue that consistency in it. For us, it's about looking at the barrels and the differences in the barrels, and that is what makes it interesting, right? I mean, I love red wine, for example, and it's about different bottles taste different, even though they're from the same vineyard in the same year. So you get a bit of a
No.
I thought that's what you're looking for. I'm not sure.
All right. I'd like to add to your comments there.
Excellent.
If I may.
Excellent. Talk to me about that, Adam.
Okay, I will add.
Norman Gunston.
So there is a marketing approach out there, particularly with Scottish whiskey. And believe me, I'm not bagging Scottish whiskey. I love Scottish whiskey. That 80% of the flavour comes from the barrel, right? And really, barley doesn't really do much apart from just contribute sugars, right? In turn, alcohol, in turn, yield, right? Now, there's a school of thought, and I think we both. Microphone to you. I think we're. I think we both subscribe. We subscribe to this theory that you can make a whiskey at 80% impact off the barrel and let the barrel do all the heavy lifting. But hey, we're using barley, the most flavoursome cereal grain on the planet. What the fuck's that?
I got my microphone now.
Mine's better. Mine's got more personality.
Too much.
Mine is sponsored by Rode Microphones. Get your Rode microphone today.
So the point I'm trying to make is the DNA of a distillery and it coming through in the flavour profile is a very unique proposition. And there's a number of distillers locally and internationally that subscribe to that approach. So talk about your specific DNA. How would you say OCD's DNA comes out in whiskey?
Look, the grain profile that comes through is pretty clear in each one. I mean, the new make that we produce there was two parts to it. One, we're not looking at the barrel to do the heavy lifting per se.
Yep.
So the old school of thought was heavy char, heavy carbon, and really what we're looking at is for that carbon to filter out what are the undesirable flavour notes, which really are our low boilers. So methanol being the one that everyone sort of refers to.
Yep.
I mean, there's some other stuff in there, but whatever, right? We'll let it go. So if you look at that approach, you go, well, that's fine if you've got a heavy char and you've got time. I don't think, and especially in Sydney, I mean, Tasmanians can argue what they want to because apparently it's like Scotland there. But here, we have weather changes that are happening rapidly. The pressure changes are happening. We have a vessel that's semi-permanent that is trying to equal the atmosphere that's on the outside, where that pressure is going up and down. So the barrel is essentially breathing. It's pushing in and out. So time isn't really our friend. We want to extract as much of the flavour profile from that barrel as we can. So in this particular case, PX barrel, previous use, heavy char. I'm pretty sure this one was recouped by Andrew Young.
Andrew Young, shout out to Andrew Young.
Wow, that was...
He's a sponsor.
Is there
He's a sponsor of Aussie Craft Distillers.
Hang on a moment, I'm just going to hit the Andrew Young button just down here.
There you go. And Whiskey Fight Club. More to come. More to come.
So
And amazingly, I did actually put up on the screen.
Special thank you, Wayne.
Yeah, Andrew
Cooper.
Young.
There we go.
he's
Yeah.
an outrageously great individual.
Yeah.
And
so
loud.
he's, well, I don't know. I'm sitting next to you, and tomorrow I'm probably going to be deaf in my left ear. So we don't yet. So okay. So
Your lefty, my right.
if you've got
What?
if you've got large amounts of time, then it's okay. But with that time comes obviously more influence on the barrel.
Yeah.
But the barrel size then matters as well. We are migrating into 120 litre barrels. That will become our mainstay. Though there are some 200s and 350s and whatever thrown
You're
in there.
migrating into 120s, you say.
Yeah, that's going to be our normal.
And what are you doing now, currently?
120s mainly, but we've got some hundreds.
Yeah.
We started in 50s,
Yeah.
and then hundreds, and then
Yeah.
because of Andrew Young, what a great group
Andrew
he
Young,
is.
all that. Okay.
Yeah, settle down. Basically, just the math in making the barrel 120 litre works quite well.
Yep.
And economically, it makes more sense. So
Excuse me.
because
Jeez.
these barrels are relatively small compared to, say, our Scottish friends, right? The ratio of timber to liquid is quite high, compared to a barrel that's so big you can walk in the bloody thing, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have the time. So what we have to do is make sure that the new make that comes off the still is already at a point where it's easy to drink. It's already got the characteristics we're looking for. So it's not really about aging the spirit to let it calm down. It's about what is the impact that barrel can have on it.
100%.
And that's what we're adding. And I mean, if you look at anything, I mean, you look at cocktails, for example. I mean, if you look at whiskey-based cocktails, and you turn around and said, well, 80% of the taste comes from everything else that's in it. I mean, in this particular case, you have a cocktail that has, citrus bitters. It has some, prosciutto in it, and it has an A-grade maple syrup, right? So, but what is the overarching flavour you can still taste? Is whiskey.
Whiskey, yeah.
So, a good whiskey sour, we've got sugar, we've got citrus juice in there, we've got egg white in there for a bit of protein to give it some head.
Keep going.
Stop it.
Keep going.
But we're still, what is the overall flavour profile we're
Quiet in
tasting?
the room,
Is we're
isn't it,
tasting the whiskey in it, right? So that's where it's going. So really, and if you have a look at the OCD range and you taste them, what we're looking at is what is the different impact it's having. It's still clearly OCD product. You can taste it. So I think when you have a strong new make that only has really 3.5 to 5 years in the barrel to give it that flavour profile, then clearly it is coming through.
Yeah.
If you turn that, and I'm not arguing that other people are wrong, but if you turn that around, you go, well, okay, here we've got this other product that's in a barrel for 12 to 18 years. Well, it's a different product. It's not the same thing. I think you've got this thing in whiskey where we have a grain-based product, right? It should be grain that is fermented, distilled, and aged in an oak barrel, right? They're the rules. Okay. So outside of that, though, if you were to take our product to something in Scotland, well, they're completely different.
Yeah.
They're not the same product. They're both whiskey,
Yeah.
but they're not the same. The approach is on such a different thought process and scale that the idea that they can turn around and say, well, 80% comes from the barrel. Well, they fucking might. They could be 100% right. But it's also been in that barrel for 12 years. That barrel is enormous, and it might be a second, third, fourth use barrel. Ours is, just been recharged from whatever it is. It's in there for a maximum 4.5 years because we don't want to over oak it. We want
Fresh,
it to taste
vibrant.
like whiskey, not like oak, not like a Chardonnay from the 90s, which is horrible, right? We want it to have that beautiful flavour profile.
So
it's
90s,
different.
Todd. So
It's
90s.
not. You are. It's not the same. And I think this is where that argument, it's correct, but they might be correct as well.
Now,
So, and I think everyone wins in this because we're all exploring different angles about whiskey.
While you're looking at that, quickly, I'm just going to tell you my Scottish story. And I use this in cellar door and markets. It's a true story, and I love it.
When you say it's true,
It's true. It's very true. A Scotsman came into my shed.
Yeah.
He looked at
Sound
me,
just like this.
just like what?
Keep going.
Yeah. So he walked in the shed
Yeah.
and he looked around and he goes, so you're trying to make whiskey.
Hang on. Is that your Scottish accent?
As good as
Yeah,
it gets.
Scottish accent.
I drop it straight away. Don't worry. You want to hear my South African? It's much
No.
better. No. All right.
No, we don't.
So he goes, so you're trying to make whiskey. And I go, oh, here we go. Yeah. I'm trying to make whiskey. And then he looks around and he goes, so what are the age of the barrels? That's not doing the Scottish accent, just in case you couldn't tell the difference.
I can tell.
Right? And I go, somewhere between 3-4 years. And he goes like this. He goes, aye. And he's sort of snarling on the spot. And I go, would you like to try my whiskey? I was like, you're not doing me any favors, mate, if you don't want to. But anyway, so I gave him a whiskey and he tastes it. And then I watch his face. His face starts contorting. Right? And it's going from...
In a good way or a bad way?
Well, this is how I'll explain. He's going, his face is contorting, going, this is meant to be shit. Shit, this is actually okay. Actually, this is really good. Oh, shit, I'm going to have to tell. Oh, damn, I'm going to have to buy a bottle. And he did. He spent $220. It was my very first release. And he said, mate, this is awesome. I think it's great what you're doing. He said, I bought a bottle. I'm going to take it home. I'm going to take it to Scotland. I'm going to sit down with my mates, slam it on the table and go, fuck me. This is what they're doing in Australia. Part of that was Scottish, fuck me. The rest of it was just normal thing.
It was hard to pick.
I don't know.
Don't get me
How do you
started
feel
about
about
my
it?
South African accent, all right?
Yeah.
Having heard it once or twice, it hasn't got any better over the telly.
But it's a true story.
Which
I know
bit?
it's a true story. The story in itself is great.
I need to work on the accents. Now, I've got a question for Todd.
No.
Todd has been drinking this stunning, and I genuinely mean this, stunning whiskey. So, Todd, what do you think? Tell us about it.
I actually love it. It is.
He's going to buy a bottle, you know,
I possibly will.
but he's expecting wholesale. I'm just putting it out there.
Honestly, I'm really enjoying this. And it's not being put on the spot or anything. I really enjoy this. It's,
Thank you, Tom.
it is. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to pull apart. It's definitely a whiskey that you could sit on all night and just really enjoy.
Well, you sit on a bottle because you end up having multiple glasses.
Yes.
Now, a couple of
Possibly
questions
not
have
quite
come
so
through.
big.
Questions from
Yeah.
the audience.
Um,
We have to get some questions from the live audience too, if they're up for it.
They're not paying
If they're up
attention.
for it,
Yeah,
they'll
that's
make
true.
it.
Yeah.
So,
Talk amongst yourselves.
Ian Bruce has asked, do adjunct casks affect each other with passive maturation?
Oh, say it again.
Do adjacent casks?
Yeah, I knew what you meant. That's okay.
Is there a
Yeah, I think. Look, I think the answer is yes.
I don't
We
understand the
don't.
question.
We don't
cask
really.
one beside cask two? Do they affect each other?
Oh, that's a new one.
Yeah, look, the answer is yes. We don't actually have enough to really measure or check that. I do know from reading though that in large barrel houses, particularly in the States with the bourbon, that the ABV of barrels, I mean, and they're stacking these things like 30 high.
On Rick Houses, yeah.
That the ABV is different, and the assumption is that literally the sure, I was just in mid conversation, but that's okay. You need water.
That's okay, I got it.
What is evaporating out of one is actually getting absorbed by another one,
And
and
Ben,
they
can I
are
have some more water, please?
they are yeah,
Sorry,
sure
carry on.
yeah no all good, it's okay. Thanks.
This is what we work with every fucking day.
This is
Yeah.
shooting the shit, right?
This is
So-
craft potatoes.
This is Google,
Because it-
Google number one.
Because of that, it's changing, and then one would assume that if you had different barrel types, I mean, in that particular case, they're all the same.
Yeah.
But if you had different barrel types, then you would assume that there would be some flavour transfer between them. The only places that I've read about where it happens are in those type situations where they have them stacked so high, because obviously it tends to go up and down rather than sideways. But yeah, I think it definitely would have an effect. But there's nothing that we've ever been able to record to show that as something that has happened. But yeah, I'd buy into that 100%.
That would be an interesting one to try and
You
record.
look, I mean, I see that whiskey is a patient person's game.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
to measure and check that, you would have to be the most patient person that ever existed in the world.
Now, going back to talking about barrels,
Yes.
on our first episode back in 2020, you were talking quite excitedly.
He did
about-
watch it. He did
I
watch
did.
it. Yeah,
I actually paid attention.
just recently. Yeah. Research. We did
It's the
research.
first episode I've actually watched in its entirety out of all 76 that we've
It probably was because it was the most compelling one.
Oh,
Biggest
and
viewership.
without
It was one of our
without a
biggest
doubt.
viewership.
Well, yeah,
it's also
the-
one of the
when-
longest.
When I'm
No, that goes to Ned.
often
It was,
happens.
I said one of.
One of
Yeah.
them.
So I want to know about the 350-litre cognac barrel.
So the 350 cognac
Excuse me, I
barrel
gotta go.
is I'm
I'll be
sorry,
back.
did we bore you?
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. Crafty's just off from his
Yeah,
own
no,
show.
Just for a good
Um,
point.
Fucking
Okay.
useless.
Yeah.
This is the shit we deal with on a daily
Fair
fucking basis, and we wonder why we still like it.
I don't know actually. So that particular barrel is still in the distillery.
Right.
So that would have been, that would have been 50 or 60 years old before it got let go. So add whatever time frame it's in before we got it. It's older than me for sure. How it's going, I don't know. So we don't open barrels on the way. So some distillers, crafty, just can't stop tasting their stuff. My belief system when it comes to whiskey is that obviously if you have a bottle like this, for example, that was for tasting, probably won't last the night with these guys. If you leave it over time, the alcohol in the bottle will atomize and it's going to fill this void. When you open that lid, then that alcohol is going to leave and air's going to go in, and essentially that environment it's in is going to change. So in a barrel, that pretty much like the day after you fill it, and it's quite devastating, really. Is you fill it to the brim. When you move it the next day, it'll slosh because the barrel itself has absorbed some of that liquid in swelling.
Yep.
So you've already lost some of it, and you've created this void, which is now in a vacuum essentially, that is going to fill with that alcohol. So if you open it, then that alcohol is going to come out, and then you're changing the environment that's inside. So typically for us, if we see a barrel is going to be a 4-year-old barrel before it's aged, before it's ready to be decanted, we will look to open it at 3 years, 10 months, just to check that.
Right.
4 years ago we didn't make a really bad decision. It's all gone to shit.
But
But
when do you think you will open that?
but we don't
that
open
cognac
it.
barrel?
Look, my daughter's going to have children probably in 20 years, and
Oh, you're gonna keep it-
no, I'm joking. I think.
Not supervisor anymore, unfortunately.
Sorry, Todd.
I've been
It's
told to
been
move.
awesome. Not every day I get to sit next to a Flanders kid. It's the look. I think I'm sort of the belief that in the Sydney weather environment that we're in, or in what it is,
Now you
that
choose
was
what?
probably he just got here.
I just want the cheap. I just want the food.
We could have just moved the fucking ball.
Yeah, why don't you just ask them?
I
Always
don't.
the most difficult possible.
100%. Yeah, I don't think we're really going to see barrels past 6 years, to be honest. I think at that point we're risking over oaking it, because we are going to get so much out of it. The cognac barrel is exciting though, because there is a 350 litre barrel there, which is essentially a cognac barrel that has been emptied and is now filled.
Over there.
But there is a sorry everyone, someone crafty knows has just arrived, and he got a bit excited.
Bit of wee escape.
Yep, he's urinated, but thankfully
We've got a
we've
gap.
we've put protective coating on all our lounges
Well,
here,
can I have that?
so it's okay.
I hope you
so-
got the shit out of it.
Yeah, they have been, which is actually really disappointing. It's how they're doing. But there is a sister barrel that is a 100-litre ex-cognac barrel that has been heavily charred, and what we're going to look at there is, well, what really is the difference between having a large format barrel that hasn't been charred, and one that's as close to the same as we could ever possibly get that has been charred and obviously cut down to a smaller format, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So we do like to play. We've got some F to C Oloroso barrels, and one of them we're running a program where at 2 years we've actually drawn out enough products to send to some of the lucky people who bought in. and then at 263, 364, we'll do the same thing.
Right.
So if you're super patient, then you can actually see what that change is and see what it is. It does hurt me a little bit because we do have to open the barrel to do it, but it is part of the program to have a look. I would say, though, that if you were an avid collector, you would not drink the bottle. You'd wait till the end.
You wait until you've got all of them.
Unfortunately, it is actually quite tasty at 2 years, even though
right.
it's a 225. But clearly, though, one of the things that's interesting is that 2 years at 225, you can see that the size of the barrel has reduced the amount of colour and flavour profile to come into it.
Yeah, right.
Clearly, it does need longer.
Yeah.
But one of the most interesting things with that barrel is that there is almost a peaty note to it.
Oh, right.
Now, we are 100% floral in terms of our grain. There is no peat, no smoke at all. And yet we have this peaty flavour profile that comes through that does come from the barrel, which is really, really interesting. And it'll be interesting to see as that progresses as to how that profile evolves and what that does or change.
I'm going to change the subject a bit. So, Todd,
No, we really enjoyed talking about barrels. So
I know that I walked away, but I came back and I heard cognac and I want to have a good conversation about that. Todd used to be, I used to be the apprentice. I put myself under a self-imposed apprenticeship, and Todd was the apprentice's apprentice. And Todd learned a lot from me, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I would just like you.
we all saw what happened to Anakin.
Yeah.
Just walk away.
I'd just like to say to
Taken me
the
many years to try and unlearn the things I've learned.
If you're going to cut off your legs and arms and throw you in a fire pit, don't do it.
to the puppet master, I would just like to say the puppet master. Here we go.
Speaking
That's
of
a-
puppets,
Yes, I know. So
I
I
have
would just-
never, nor have I ever will, controlled Crafty in any way.
like puppet master, I would like you. No, not puppet master. What was it from Star Wars?
Padawan and the
No, the ultimate guy. The guy. Who was it?
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, Palpatine, right? Palpatine, right? I would like you to talk to my Padawan and give him advice and put him on the right path, because he's been down the dark side with me, and he's learned a lot of bad habits.
I don't think we have enough time.
Ignore everything and read a science book.
I've got a lot of reading.
Don't bother going out to Capity. Come here for experience.
It's closer for start.
We'll show you fun things as the difference between cleaning, washing, and sanitizing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sanitizing, what's that? Is that like hospital
Washing.
stuff?
So Brad says, "You sure it's not Ren and Stimpy you're thinking of?"
Oh, boom, boom.
I used to like that person.
Hey, drop the mic.
Oh no,
He's already broken.
he's already like dismembered because you couldn't get. I mean, what were you trying to do with his hand?
I actually tried to move it.
Was it so it would make something else look bigger?
I thought it was a wobble.
Was it?
Look.
No, his head's a wobble.
So here is number 2. So China made this and they didn't make it right. This is number 2. Right? He's intact.
I get this shit one, not this one.
Yeah, you don't get
That one we can afford to break, but not this one.
I don't know why people are watching it.
I don't fucking know either. Anyway, so keep the wheels on.
This
Yes.
one goes to market. It's been bashed up somewhere.
I do need to ask about your squeaky chair from last
They actually
time.
put it on a
When you
love
were sitting
base.
under the house,
Mm.
sitting on the
Hard
top.
love base.
That
Oh, the
every
old
time
rocking
you
chair.
moved, it squeaked.
That was the old
And-
rocking chair. That was my mum's
No,
old rocking chair.
we're getting to
So I
question.
think it's going to be.
It's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there. It didn't come to here though.
What's
I
this?
think the hallmark of our chats with you are going to be there'll be noise.
Yeah,
Whether it's a squeaky chair or whether it's an actual active functioning
noisy people.
noisy bar where people are, while a business is trying to be run while we're sitting here being fuckwits.
I think
course,
this should be a weekly
Trying to
thing.
make
Of course, if we had, Rode microphones, sound brought to you by Rode Microphones, a sponsor of the show.
Yeah,
Then obviously
if I
that would be.
if I knew how to use the fucking things.
We have sponsors. We'll talk about our sponsors. But first, let's go for more questions from the
Well,
audience,
so
the online audience.
Well, that would have been a lot easier if I managed to get the equipment to work.
True.
My intention was that I would rove around with the microphone.
No.
and
The
talk to
online.
people. Well, the online, I've done all them. Well,
You've done Paul
Nick
McClay?
Hope actually.
Paul McClay, CEO of the Australian Distillers Association, has chimed in there. I think he's
Oh, sorry, he has too.
going to talk about the pants
There
and
we
the good
go.
looks.
Paul says, what is the biggest issue facing Australian craft spirits industry? And what do you
Oh, all right, everyone.
think should be done
everyone,
about it?
batten down the hatches. We're about to go on a wild ride here.
I think that's an offline discussion that could be had.
Really?
You really want to answer that one?
I think the biggest issue that we could, the biggest issue I'm willing to talk about here, because I got told to keep things offline.
Cone of silence. Cone of
is,
silence.
No
one's
fucking
listening.
cone of silence on a fucking podcast.
No one's listening.
Is that when I started, there was, I don't know, I can't remember the number, but there was not a lot of distilleries, to be fair.
How many was there
and-
when you started? 50, 60?
Not even, no. No, I mean, I started before you. God, I was like,
But I trained you, and you were under my wing.
yes, okay, but we did it without the need for linear time. There wasn't a lot of distilleries, and I think one of the issues is that I put myself through a self-imposed apprenticeship of types.
That's my line, not
So-
yours.
It's been mine for a while. That's okay. I'll let you borrow it occasionally. So one of the things I did was, I called the ATO and talked about what I wanted to do. They asked if we had a business plan. We put that together. I mean, corporate backgrounds and all that sort of stuff makes that stuff not that difficult. But really, the journey was to look at could I make a product that I felt was strong enough to take to market and that people would enjoy. And in that process, there wasn't really, and being able to do it under the house, obviously I wasn't really concerned about rent or anything like that. So I was able to do that at my leisure. So I did a number of things in terms of using different grains. I bought commercially available stuff. I won't say who, because I wasn't a fan of any of it at the end, obviously. But I bought different grains, learned about yeast, did different things in terms of doing ferment, so time and temperature and working through those things, and then working to the point where I thought I had something that was at a quality I wanted to distill, and then looked at distilling at different ABVs, and then learning about the production of volatiles with grain and how it behaves in different temperatures and percentages and all that sort of stuff, and all of this was like a 3 or 4 year process, which really meant that by the time we came to looking at the first scaling up, which was St. Peter's, and when we moved to St. Peter's, we weren't meant to move there for as long as we did, but obviously COVID happened in that, and hand sanitizer land and all those horrible fucking things we all lived through. But there was a long journey of learning and understanding about how it works, really understanding the safety and governance perspective from the EPA, what they were looking for, understanding what this product was. So we were able to, essentially look as though we opened the door and come to market with a product that's readily available. But hidden behind that is this really long journey of discovery and learning and validation. I like to read a lot.
So do you think, in response to Paul's question, do you think that lack of learning, people are expecting to be further along in the process and further along in the business?
So what I would struggle to believe is
Earlier
that
than
there
you
are what I would struggle to believe is that there are 600 people who started when I did that are now at a point where they have a distillery and are able to come to market with a product that quickly and have had those same learnings.
Yeah.
And through that, and I know through my dealings with the EPA, who I have a really good relationship with, that their journey through auditing various people would suggest that no, that isn't the same as other people in terms of their understanding and that sort of stuff. And I don't know. I'm not saying other people shouldn't do it. What I'm saying is that journey is invaluable to getting to a point where you have a product that is a quality product and is able to be done within all of these rules and the landscape of what the market actually is.
So do you think there should be more checks and balances in place before someone can call themselves a distillery?
Well, there are no checks and balances.
So you would say
So
that
more would be helpful.
Any.
are we in the wild west stage of our industry? When I started, there was 60 distilleries in 2015. I started as an independent bottler.
Yeah.
There's now officially, based on the Australian Distillers Association listing, 700 distilleries, and of that, the majority are white distilleries, white spirits distilleries. So, and there's a lot of challenges in our industry. There's a lot of people that are entering our industry, and the term cowboy has been thrown around.
I don't know that they're cowboys. What I think is you don't.
Not
know,
all,
you,
not all.
What I think is you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact the industry is allowed to be self-governed is a great thing, because I'm not a great believer of over-regulating anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've worked in the liquor, the cigarette, and the soft drink industry, so I'm more than aware of looking at the different amount of rules that are in different things. But I think with self-regulation comes a need to understand that means you have to self-regulate, which means you have to make sure you are doing things properly and coming to market.
There has to be a way to audit that, to report.
Yeah.
You don't want to stifle.
Yeah, as I say, I'm
creativity.
not. Yeah, and I'm not looking at that, but I just don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't see how that is, and I think one of the risks is that when a consumer spends what they perceive to be a large amount of money on something, and when they get home and have it outside of the realm of the sales pitch and all that, that if they don't enjoy it, then it's not just that particular distillery or brand that gets hurt by that, it's the entire industry that gets hurt by that. So we either as a group thrive together or fail together, really.
Round of applause.
Which is why, I think even there are businesses out there that I'm not necessarily a fan of or necessarily a fan of the product, but as an industry, we need them to succeed. Because if they don't succeed, then we're all sort of down the path of potential failure because of it.
Do you think that the distilling industry will see the sort of, people that the brewing industry is seeing, where the number of brewers that are going into administration
one a week
these days is alarming?
I would question if you have enough money to pull in VAs because you owe so much tax that you just simply haven't paid it.
Yeah.
I don't know the books though, but that would be my question.
Yeah. So, another question from the audience on that note.
Very PC tonight. I'm very impressed, mate. The training has worked. The counselling.
Training?
Yeah, we had counselling. He was behind
There was,
the room at the back, fuming. Go, calm. Come on, bring your PC. Bring your PC. And
Yeah,
he
right.
has.
I believe it's
there's a healthy discourse. Barry asked, long time listener, first time caller, boxes
Thanks,
or
Barry.
briefs?
Who's Barry?
What's that?
Boxes or briefs?
Oh, boxes.
You've got to have the airflow.
I need room.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Briefs never did it for me.
I need the need for speed.
So you're going commando? Is that what you're telling us?
Well, look, when he,
I'm a Bond person myself.
Mate, there's not enough cotton in the world.
when he spoke to me earlier this evening,
You don't have to say
earlier this evening, he's like, oh, I've got to put on pants. I'm just staring at my cock at the moment. I'll put on pants. Like,
That was 5 minutes before he got here.
pants.
The Uber driver must have been very nervous.
So,
Right, winning over there. Okay, let's go.
Crafty now has a 1-star rating on Uber. No one's picking him up tonight.
I would just like to say,
Andrew is going to have to book you.
I would just like to say, and this is a personal note. This is not related to you at all, but I had.
It's my fucking podcast. Hello.
Oh, I like it, mate. I get to say a few things as well. All right.
No.
After episode 70, no.
this is 77, if you would
I
believe.
thought it was 78.
No, just
77 because it feels like heaven.
Anyway, so it's not official, but it's getting very, very close that the Craftworks Distillery Whiskey Terroir project is entering into a new phase, and a certain individual on the global stage called Mark Granier, who I idolise from Brook Laddie days and Waterford, calls me a whiskey terroirist. Not a terrorist, as some people say, a terroirist.
Okay, so Nick, please, I haven't been keeping count. Can you please let me know how many times? But Nick here from Carew has said, because you're at the bar, Crafty should do a shot every time terroir is mentioned.
Oh,
Nick, to be fair, I need him to leave at some stage. There isn't enough time, mate.
I don't
Sorry.
think any of us want to see the result of that because I've lost count.
terroir is, it's not terrorist. I came out of the bar after meeting Mark Granier. I came out of the bar after meeting Mark Granier, right? And I was talking about terroir. Remember this? And these guys go, I'm a whiskey terrorist. And they go, oh, whiskey terrorist. And there was 5 cop cars lined up in a row. This is in the rocks. And I'm going, not terrorist. Hey?
It's right outside the police station at the Rock.
Yeah.
We're talking about terrorists.
So, terroirist.
Well, that's not what they thought.
So I think we're up to 10
Hello,
at
Nick.
least.
Hello, Ali.
Maybe 15.
We don't have enough booze
I don't
in
know.
the bar to really cover the terrorist that is next to me.
Let's just take it to Fight Club. That's all I'm saying. Let's just take it to Whiskey Fight Club.
Look, I think there is a need to allow Fight Club to be fair and inclusive for others.
That's why we have Whiskey Fight Club.
Yeah, I mean,
This
Now,
man
Nick-
was in round 1 and has forfeited because he's keeping his powder dry for down the line. Down the line, he's going to be an opportunist. When he sees an opponent that he thinks he's going to take out easily, that's when he's going to jump into
well,
Whiskey Fight
Crafty,
Club.
Well, Nick Hope says that OCD looked like the underdog for Fight Club. So,
Ooh.
I didn't want Crafty to have his own brand taken out of his Fight Club in
Fair.
the first round.
fair.
So I felt that it's best to sit back and just wait to remove him later when it was more painful.
Well,
When there's
speaking,
blood in the water.
speaking of the first round,
Can we talk about the first round?
the
Let's
first
talk about
round is going to be on the 25th of May at Willie the Boatman.
Look at you, you professional.
I know. Look at this. That fucking works.
I like it. The microphones don't, but that
No.
So, for those who don't know, Whiskey Fight Club, 25th of May, a ticketed event, 100 people, hay bales in a circle. Willie the Boatman, Pat, everyone who knows Pat from Willie the Boatman is MC for the night. It is going to be the arena of pain. I'm in round 1. Ding, ding, ding. And I am fighting Imbue Distillery, Mick the Master Mincer, all the way from Victoria.
You're just adding extra words. Nick the Master.
But Mincer sounds better. I'm Crafty the Cruiser.
And you made that up yourself.
Because it's just going to cruise into wheelbarrows.
Anyway, guys,
Totally unprepared. So you can buy tickets. You can buy tickets from shootingtheshit.com.au at $65 to either join us. Shootingtheshit.com.au.
shootingtheshed.com. And for those who want
AU.
to understand the concept in briefly, an arena of hay bales, 100 people sitting on hay bales, tasting whiskey, blind tasting. They don't know what it is. The distillers don't know what it is. All we know is the 2 distillers. It's their product. Everyone tastes in the room. They go, thumb up, I like it. Yeah, I don't like it. Be an emperor for a night. Then the 2 distillers go toe to toe. Why am I looking at that?
I don't know, Mike.
always do
Because
this.
you look at yourself.
I always do this.
They're there.
There,
He
right,
likes
okay.
watching his own lips move.
So what happens? The distillers go toe to toe. A coin is flipped. Whoever wins the toss picks up the 15 ml pour whiskey and decides, do I drink it or does my opponent drink it? They then, if it's me, for example, playing Ed, I would choose, that's my head, I would choose
Choose your own head.
to drink it. I would taste it. We would have a score on the board from the arena on that whiskey. I would taste it,
You start spitting if you do that too much.
and yeah, I'm getting dizzy, and decide, is it my whiskey or is it his whiskey? If I say it's my whiskey, it's locked up on the board. Crafty, the cruiser, says it's his whiskey. Then I have to decide which of my whiskeys it is. That's not easy, believe me.
Now he's already failed that.
Yeah,
On his home turf.
Yeah.
No. He had the opportunity.
I was doing a sales pitch and you know how to destroy it.
Yeah. No, I've got to throw
I got
you on.
knocked out even
I'm going
before
to throw
round
you
one.
on the bus. He was at it on his home turf, and
A local
a local
at the Capony, at the
drinking
Royal
his
Hotel
whiskey.
Capony.
Yep, go for it.
He gave me a whiskey and he goes, "This is your whiskey. What is it?" And it was on ice. I tasted it and I went, "Oh, that's the Capony Batch 8, the latest one." He goes, "Oh, it's really, I like that." No, it was wrong.
It's your fucking signature.
It was my signature. He stood up and he goes, "You're out of here. You're out of here. You can't even get your first one right." Anyway, at the end,
did you have to drink your own whiskey on ice? It's okay.
yeah, I know. I said. That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. So anyway, we go toe to toe. If I guess it right, I get a few points. If I get it wrong, then I lose a fuck ton of points, and the sledging begins by the fellow distiller and the arena of pain. So you are flayed alive, and we do it 6 times. At the end, there's a winner, and we go on to the next round. Hang on.
Who's immune playing next?
And you.
Yeah, who they're doing next?
After that, the second round is the Dubbo Winter Whiskey Festival in June. They're expecting about 2,000 people to turn up for the festival. At the end of the night, we're doing Fight Club. It's an exhibition match. It's me, Crafty the Cruiser, versus Nick. I don't know what Nick's name's going to be, from Bathurst Grange. We're the undercard. The main event of the night is...
Wouldn't it be the other one when they win? Do the next one?
That one. That's about August.
No, but when they do the next one then?
No, because they're not going to Dubbo. Dubbo's an exhibition match.
Ah, right.
And the main event is Dave Whitaker. Dave the Decimator, I think he's called, is going up against Archie Rose. Dan the Man, the main event. So, Dubbo Winter Whiskey Festival, guys. Come out of the country, have some fun.
First, though, we need to get this one right.
Yeah, we're going to prove the concept first.
Because I won't be there at Dubbo, unfortunately. I'll be in the UK.
So
we'll
we're
be
fucked.
there.
We're fucked.
Well, it's just
So-
for failure.
So Luke, you looked at.
So if you want to go to a comedy show, Dubbo,
Yeah.
that's where it's going to be at. Jokes are plenty. Not a lot getting done.
No. And
So, rule number...
as Todd was about to say there.
Where on earth do I have to go to be as far away from Dubbo as I possibly can?
You're there. Oh, him.
No,
Goes
me.
to the UK. Yeah.
I managed it. The other side of the world.
Yeah.
So yes, buy tickets. Shootingtheshit.com.au. $65.
Don't
If you can't get there on the
we'll
night, we're doing home tasting packs as well, so you can play along from home. We'll be
Arena
live streaming the
style.
whole thing. Same thing. You get the blind tasting kit. You won't know. You'll see a number on each one. You won't know what they are. We'll tell you on the night, and it should be a bit of fun.
Be a bit of fun. So the first rule of Whiskey Fight Club is we're going to make some money. This is actually a commercial venture. Number 2, you're going to have fun. Number 3,
There are no rules in Whiskey Fight Club.
no, there's no whiskey fuckery. There's none of this. Ooh, oh, what does it smell like? Ooh, oh, it's a cognac cask from the south of France on the left bank, and a local villager hauled it up.
You got told what it was 5 minutes ago. You still don't know. Oh, you're doomed.
Yeah, but I'm doomed. And the
No,
fourth
it's not
rule of
whiskey.
Fight Club is fun. It is fun. So it's going to be a fun
Which
night.
is the same as the second rule of Fight Club, but we won't say it.
That's because I can't think of any more rules. And no, the fifth rule of Fight Club is you do talk about Fight Club.
Oh, you do?
Oh, you do talk about Fight
Oh, right.
Whiskey Fight Club. So Whiskey Fight Club, people, it's an extension of Aussie Craft Distillers Shooting the Shit. We're going to have some fun. You guys are going to have some fun. No whiskey fuckery. And be an emperor for the night. And on that note,
Please come along.
sponsors?
Well, no, we also have our The book. It's on our book. It is.
No,
It's on, we
would you
didn't
like?
write it.
Would you like to make a pitch because
I've seen
you've got the power?
I've seen a few of these
Have
books.
you seen that book before?
I have.
Help the cause.
Would you
Help the
like?
cause.
Would you like?
I mean,
buy one?
You'd like to see less of it.
I've seen many of them in a box. It's wrapped in black plastic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Are they like just over there?
Yeah, they're not far from where we are right
You know,
now.
it's really lucky you've got such a big space.
Yeah, no,
No.
You are
not-
underutilized.
not- yeah.
You are underutilized.
I mean, it's look, I'm encouraging everyone. If you want to have a copy of that book, you should reach out and definitely buy one from Crafty as soon as you can, so that
So help an Ed. Everyone needs to help an Ed in their life.
I can get some space back.
Yeah. So again, you can.
It's a fantastic book.
It is.
Really informative.
You can buy that
great,
book
one for
quite
your mum.
entertaining. And
from the website. Shoot
Buy
the
one
shit.
for your mum.
Buy one for your mum.
definitely go to shootingtheshit.com.au
Mother's Day
and
strategy.
order one straight away. And let's see.
Well,
if
there
we
you go.
can
Look,
get
David. Okay, now I've got a bone to pick actually with David because he bought one whilst in the UK,
Asshole.
and then
that. No,
and
but
then
he has
carried it-
highlighted that it
and
is great
it was a
reading.
great read.
And
And
I
he bought
think
it in
that,
the UK and carried it back with him. He could have just got it here.
Well, Crafty also got them back from the UK.
We thought he was going
He-
to turn up tonight.
he
He just
just-
wouldn't change.
He just
Well,
got.
he's actually coming on Friday.
Carry on.
Please buy the book.
Please
Whatever
help,
you're doing.
help an Ed. Everyone
Buy
needs
the
to
book.
help an Ed in their
buy the
life.
book. So
In fact, if 40 or 50,000 of you could buy a book today, that would be really
that'd be really
helpful.
helpful.
to,
David will actually be here for
You
the
should have
tour
David
in
Kay.
October.
Sorry, what was that?
So David and Carolyn Taylor will actually be here to take you up on an offer of a tour in October.
Yeah, no, he reached out to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. He's confirmed he's coming.
I like nothing more than showing off other distillers.
Awesome. David also says that it sounds like a good piss up for the Fight Club. And
RSA responsible.
Nick has been asking, where's Todd's bus? It's delayed.
Todd's bus.
It's been delayed. You know, Sydney traffic, the rain.
It's in for service.
Tomorrow. It's all
Because-
that.
Lost a
yeah.
few wheels.
Anyway, let's leave it at that. Thank you very much, Ed, for allowing us to impose.
Thank you for having me.
On,
Thank you for allowing
Okay.
us to come to your
on the
venue,
bar.
my friend.
Thank you for the oysters, which you so
Oh, yeah.
skillfully shot. I'm still impressed that you've got all your fingers.
It's not really. It's a.
It would have been a bad start. Yeah, and the room is blood everywhere. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
give the thing to Crafty, you would have taken off 4 fingers, but I mean, in a skill hand, it was quite effortless. So well done. And thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you again in another 3 years.
And I've got to sing out quickly to Christian from Lord Howe Distilling Co. Christian, I finally text you. Josh from Mogwai.
stop looking at the screen and look at the camera. Put your hand down so people can
It's
see your
even got a
face.
little light on it just to help you.
Yeah.
I know, shiny. Look at the shiny
So
thing.
call out to Christian Young. A big thank you from Crafty for something I'm not sure about.
Anyway, mate.
He finally did what he said he was gonna do.
Josh from Mogwai. I gave you his details. Yeast. We was talking about Lord Howe Island.
Up for a holiday in Lord Howe.
No, the uniqueness of it all, the terroir of it all. And
That was actually
so,
really
yeah,
interesting
so we've done that.
Yeah.
And now to our sponsors. But first, Ed, final words.
I just think that everyone should come to Bar 26 and try the amazing cocktails and whiskey we have on offer.
Please do. Bar26.com.au.
That is correct.
OCD.com and shootingtheshit.com.au to buy your book, buy your Fight Club tickets, and see all of our past episodes. Ed, thank you very much.
Our sponsors.
And roll sponsors, please buy shit from them.